back to Baseball Books and Banter with me, your host, Nicole Aslan. And of course, my Diet Coke with my Celtics little mug thingy because it is baseball season, but it's still also basketball season, and the Celtics are still in the hunt. So, I gotta support my boys. So it's baseball season. Yay! We made it through the winter, and it is 39 degrees out, but we made it through the winter. The Red Sox literally just lost their second game, and that's depressing against the Reds in Cincinnati. They won game one, which was exciting, and then yesterday they lost in extra innings, and then today they lost by 1 run, and that's obnoxious. But Willie Abreu has hit a home run in each game. So maybe silver linings. We shall see. I'm still cautiously optimistic. I feel like it's still early. We can't overreact, guys. We can't overreact. But as we are in Boston, I'm kind of overreacting. One thing we did learn, the ABS challenge system, doing fine. I will say, for those that know me, my third book in the series is coming out, and you didn't know this, but I wrote it 2.5 years ago, and it features the robot umpires very heavily, the ABS system. It was before the major leagues decided to incorporate it, so hopefully everything still stands. I actually did research on it, so I enjoy it. We'll see what happens. We did get screwed by it yesterday, but that was, again, not the system's fault. Also, CB Buckner is the worst. Poor guy. I know umpiring's hard, but he is objectively bad. Anyway, so that's coming up. Another big news thing. I'm not even going to talk about things I'm obsessed with right now because I just talked to you guys last week, but the Ballpark Mystery Series that I have created is actually now going to be called the Minor League Mysteries. I did get a legal letter that it was a trademark term, the Ballpark Mysteries. So after consulting with the Authors Guild and my publisher, we've decided to make the switch. I did a Google search. I did a trademark search. Nobody has the Minor League Mysteries, and don't take this as you should go out and trademark it, because I'm going to try to trademark it, but also, like, I don't know, there can be room in the world for mysteries. I mean, it's not like the books were called that, but hey, no harm, no foul. So, and it's no harm, no foul. See, we talk about puns later. That's going to be funny when you're listening to the rest of the interview with Teel, but so it kind of worked out at a good time to do that, because I am working with Level Best to reissue the first two books and also the third book, so we have that time to rebrand them. So stay tuned for more information on all of my sites for that. But as of right now, they're called the Minor League Mysteries now, which I kind of like better because it kind of fits. It's not just all at the ballpark, and that kind of gives me some leeway to maybe move her around somewhere else. So we'll see. So stay tuned for more info. I am watching March Madness right now, hence the thing. The UConn girls are killing it, as they always do. My mom loved watching the UConn girls. Her sister Winifred was a big fan, and so we would always talk about that. And we all love Gino, so hopefully they're probably going to win this year. They're just good all the time. The UConn boys are playing right this afternoon, so I'm going to switch to that here shortly. The Bruins are also playing tonight. They're still doing okay, still winning a lot at home. Still in the hunt. I don't know if they're like officially there, but the Celtics, as I said at the beginning, definitely in the playoffs, definitely going to get done. But on that note, I did want to get into this interview because it's really super fun. It's with Teel James Glenn, and he is a soon-to-be fellow Level Bestie along with myself. And he's just a fascinating character, human. His backstory is great. I didn't get to tell him how much I love soap operas, so like when he talked about that, I was very excited. And also the whole how fantasy can sometimes mirror reality, and I think that's something we use as an escape, but it's also something that could be used as a mirror. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I enjoyed interviewing him. I hope to have him back in the fall when the book comes out with Level Best, and learn more about Jack Silence. But until then, enjoy the interview. I was going to sign off, but that's like not till the end. So anyways, enjoy the interview with Teel, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Baseball Books and Banter with me. Today's guest is a future fellow level bestie in October, correct?
Yep,
You
yep.
haven't had anything published by them yet.
Not by level best yet. No.
Me neither.
Um,
So we're in the same boat.
I came in. They accepted the manuscript just when they went through their reorganization.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yep.
So it's been like 2 years. So it's been
Yeah.
a long. They already have the sequel from me.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
waiting for the. So they're back on track now, and I'm very excited by that.
Yes. But before we get even deeper into that, because you have a varied resume, let's say. Let me introduce you. This is Teel James Glenn. I wrote down some of the stuff you've done because I feel like that is a good way. Actor, stuntman, stunt choreographer, writer, cosplayer, just pretty much anything. I loved when I read in your biography that you trained under Errol Flynn's stunt master or stunt double,
Yeah, his last stunt double, Patty Crean. Yeah.
which like for those that know me, know just general stuff about me. Errol Flynn, I reference him a lot, which is random for a girl in the 2026, but it's just he's kind of that vibe. So that's you.
Yeah.
That vibe.
His screen persona is still what I aspire to be, or
Yeah.
really Guy Williams as
Okay.
Zorro. That's
Oh,
pretty
Zorro.
much
Yeah.
the same vibe, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Very
At least,
swashbuckly. Um,
yeah,
and you call yourself an urban swashbuckler.
yes, that's the website, which is desperately in need of being revived. I'm having this literally this month. It's getting rebuilt because it's
That's
a mess.
exciting. It's
It's
it,
it's old.
I didn't want to say anything, but
Yeah,
now that
yeah, I
you've
know it's
mentioned
garbage.
it,
Yes, it's a terrible website. No,
yeah.
I always say I've been teaching swords since it was the current technology.
Oh my God,
You know.
that's funny. I love that. So yeah, so tell people, I mean, I just gave the broad strokes, but tell people a little bit more about yourself and how you became a writer
Uh,
and all that.
I was a very sickly kid, and growing up, I was lucky to have a lot of TV stations in New York, and I got to see a lot of old swashbucklers and movie serials, and I decided I wanted to do that. So I couldn't run track, but I could teach myself how to jump off roofs,
Sure.
um, which I did. I made Super 8 movies, and eventually I took a class when I was researching a novel. Um, in stage combat.
Mm.
Actually, the class was called Swashbuckling 101.
Oh my gosh.
And I took it, and the second I held a sword, it was like the heavens opened up, and I knew this is what I wanted to do with my life.
That's awesome.
So I went on to study with a bunch of people, including Errol Flynn's last stunt double, Patty Crean. And For 50 years, I worked at 60 Renaissance fairs. I taught stage combat at a bunch of colleges all around the country. Choreographed all of Shakespeare's plays except King John,
Oh,
at least once, and went on. I worked on all the soap operas in New York. One Life to Live, All My Children.
oh,
Um, what else? Another
yep,
World.
yep.
Um, and I mean, I chased Erica around with a gun at one point, and and but one day I said, I will always be able to fall down,
Sure,
but one day I won't be able to get up.
sure.
So I better have a backup. So now I did go to art school originally, thinking that would finance
Yep,
the rest of my career, which was a mistake.
yeah.
But I started writing, and then I've been writing professionally now. Actually, I sold some stuff while I was in college, but I really for about 25 years.
Yeah, wow.
Um, just just started this week my 54th novel,
That's
uh,
awesome.
and I have, I guess, about 15 collections of short stories, which is the book that's coming out from Level Best is Guns, Goons, and Goblins,
Right.
which is a collection of urban fantasy detective stories.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
which are, yeah, it's sort of like, oh my gosh, it's sort of like if Mike Hammer was stuck in the middle of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh,
Uh, you
oh,
know,
yeah.
it's New York. It's New York after the world of the Fae and ours have reconnected, but things
Okay.
have gone a little wonky.
Yeah.
So, who are you going to call when your place is infested with trolls?
Yeah.
You
Which is,
call the ghost maker.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's an underutilized. I think it's starting to become more of a thing now where people go, oh, we should incorporate some of this fantasy into mysteries because, yeah, you do. I
Yeah.
mean, you're watching Game of Thrones and you're like, well, who's investigating
Yeah.
whatever when somebody died? And that's the mystery right there.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I actually tried to construct all of the stories that are actual mysteries.
Yeah.
They're mysteries first. It's just like his assistant is a gnome and he's hired by an elf
Yep.
and but they're actual mysteries with solvable most of them solvable
Sure.
clues, but they're also very tongue in cheek.
Sure. Well, you have to.
They're very Damon Runyon sort of.
Okay.
He just basically wants to make enough money to retire somewhere where the world is sane, but he's just never going to because
Um,
we never are.
yeah, I was just gonna say he's like the I'm too old for this FS
Pretty much,
detective,
yeah,
getting
pretty
hard
much.
boiled, kind of that
I'm
noir.
not going to. I'm not going to say that I've drawn for my life, but he's an older former stuntman who uses his skills in that new profession.
Where have I heard that before? Except for the
You
murder
know,
and the trolls and every. Well, you know
yeah.
what? You live in Jersey. I don't want to presume to know what's
Let's
in Jersey. So
let's just say stuff could happen. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
I got you. I feel that. Yeah, because I feel like I can't remember. Oh, I wish I could remember the series, but I read a series that was similar in that I feel like a lot of urban what do they call them? Urban fantasy romance novels are like that, where there's an overarching mystery. Oh, and the shifters versus the Fae, and the Fae, I mean, are
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of rules
Well,
involved there.
a friend of mine always says that basically every story is a mystery to the
Mhm.
reader and to the characters because you don't know where it's going to end.
Yep.
And a lot of them, the romanticises, um, they give it's not just are they going to get together, but there
Right.
usually is some sort of opponent or something they have to find to solve because we as a species, we like to solve
Yep.
puzzles,
We like to ask
you
questions.
know?
We like to
Yeah.
resolve things. We want to see justice. We want to do all that. And
It's why we have explorers
yeah,
because people want to know what's over the next hill. You
and I
know,
hate exploring, but I love watching people explore. I know. As do you think some of that uh, desire to write about that? We talked a little bit before we started recording that your background is of Scotland, of kind of that lineage of there being folklore and putting that folklore into these books.
oh yes, absolutely. Uh, when I went there on my honeymoon a million years ago, and when I got off the train in Edinburgh, I looked around, and I just felt like this is something. If it's muscle memory or blood memory or whatever, and I've always been fascinated by the lore
Yeah.
and the background of it. I've started incorporating it in some of my stories. I have a straight up mystery character who is a Scot, and I actually use because Scots language is separate from Gaelic and
Yeah.
English,
Yeah.
and I actually have had a couple of them published in Black Cat Weekly where he uses the Scots language
Okay.
as part of what but to give it flavor. But the book I'm working on now is going to have something of a Celtic background.
So
You know,
so the book coming out in October, which kind of a good time for it to do kind of this, Fae and
yes, yeah, it'll
mystery
come out.
noir.
Yep.
So you said you have a sequel to it. So these are shorts. Is it a collection of short stories with similar characters, or is it a whole bunch of different characters? Or how is that collection put together?
It's actually a collection. Both of them are collect. The first is Guns, Goons, and Goblins,
Yeah.
and the second one will be Dragons, Dames, and Demons.
Oh my God.
And they're 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 short stories, but they have continuing characters that run through them, and
Okay.
each book has an overarching story,
Yeah.
so that it's they I what do
So
they
they're
call it now? A threaded novel.
yeah, I was gonna say like
It's
vignettes, like you're
yeah, it's progressive, but it's the main character is Jack Silence,
oh,
um,
what a great
and
name.
he has the when things went bad with the land of the Fae overlaid us. The Queen Morgana basically stopped being pissed at humans and let the barriers go down.
Sure.
And but when it happened, strange things occurred, and it wasn't always smooth.
Yeah.
And so they have things called paragoblins and parademons, and they're whatever the race is, but some part of them comes through and they're mad and they need to
Oh,
be put down, basically.
gotcha.
So Jack Silence, some people also gained abilities. And in his case, he developed extra olfactory perception.
So he can
He
smell
can
them.
smell them. He
Fantastic.
can
Yeah.
smell them before they come through the barrier,
Oh my
which is,
goodness.
like I said, it's tongue in cheek.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so he sets up basically an extermination business. He's basically the Orkin man for demons.
I love that. I love that because it's, but in straight mysteries, if you want to call them that, conventional mysteries, usually the main character, especially in like a noir detective, like Sherlock Holmes was brilliant, you know, and he could just look at something. And I feel like that's kind of the thing. There's a quirk that makes him a detective. And if he didn't have this quirk, he might not be in the field that he's in.
Exactly. And he's, you know, he's basically a blue collar working guy. And like, for instance, when the worlds connect, certain things don't work anymore. Magic is back, but like internal combustion engines in cars don't work.
Huh, interesting.
So you have to get around by either unicorn cart or griffin cart,
Yeah.
or you can rent a rug
Oh,
and you can fly on a carpet around Manhattan.
I love that.
They have rent a rug kiosks where you put in your money.
Yeah.
You
Kind of
get
like
on
the
it.
city bike, right?
That's exactly
Yeah,
that's exactly where I got it from.
Yep.
And of course, no one goes in the subway anymore
Nope.
because the trolls are there.
Right, I was gonna say that's underground.
They've taken over the subways, so
Yeah.
no one goes in the subways anymore.
Fair.
And the Coast Guard now has to patrol the East River and the Hudson because of sea serpents.
Oh wow.
So you know, there's a ferry service, but
Yep.
every once in a while things go bad. So it's
Ferry service.
yes, there's
Anyway,
that.
sorry.
Yes,
That's the mimosa talking.
but yeah, so it's they. But within that, he often gets what I call off-brand jobs.
Mm.
At one point, somebody, one of the stories, was it Magic My Sweet? I think is the story title. Somebody accidentally reanimates a corpse.
Oh, as one
he's translating a book and he reads the spell out loud while he's trying to translate it, and he raises the corpse, and so he's hired to go and recorpse the person.
Make it a real corpse.
Yes. Unfortunately, the demon who's now possessed the body is using that body and is now the girlfriend of a gargoyle who's a gangster.
Yeah.
So he's got to go into the gangster's nightclub and kill the gangster's girlfriend,
which is never a good thing to do. Yeah, they don't tend to like that.
No, and but they have things like they have a floor show with a bunch of dwarves dancing, and because all dwarves look alike, it's a very disturbing thing because they all have beards and fishnet stockings, and you know,
there's the
so it's very tongue in cheek, but it's an actual. He's got to solve the case, and he's got to go in, and you know. So I tried to make them fun adventures. You know, nothing too dark, no real message, just enjoyable,
just fun, and
but
which is what you want a mystery sometimes is just to solve it.
And it's one of those things where I wrote the first one not having any idea what I was doing. It just sort of happened, and then I started writing them, and like they kept pouring out of me. Yeah. So I've written like 25 of the short stories. It's one of those.
The world building alone lends itself to story.
Exactly. It's there's an awful lot of fun with it, and you know, I basically, you know, I've done my version of Manhattan and my version of upstate New York, where dinosaurs still roam, and that kind of thing.
Again,
and one of the
don't know. Maybe there are up there. Bigfoot's still around somewhere.
Well,
maybe
I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of weird stuff in Orange County.
Yeah.
But no, I like one of the stories is called "The Purpled Prose of Cairo."
Oh.
And it's in Cairo, New York. There's a publishing company, and they've been publishing pulp reprints, and then they start publishing unpublished stories that continue the old pulp
Oh,
reprints.
interesting. Yeah.
Only they discover that the reason they're doing that is the reprints were making so much money. They got a resurrectionist to revive the pulp writers,
Mm.
and they have them chained in the basement writing new stories.
Which is how we all
And so
feel
he's got
sometimes. No.
it's exactly how I feel
Yeah.
when I'm on deadline.
Right, right,
And
right.
so he's got to go and try to save the pulp writers.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
It's
it
almost
gets,
cathartic because you can write it's
oh,
fantasy, but you can
absolutely.
kind of get a lot of that how you're feeling about the writing out. I feel like I'm chained in a basement just churning work out, but it's not. It is
Exactly.
enjoyable, guys. We do like to write. Like, don't.
I will make note, I do live in a basement. So there's
Okay.
absolutely no resemblance between real
None.
life and that. None
No.
at all.
So each story is titled. How fun is it to pick the titles or to make up the titles or figure
Oh,
that out?
uh, I'm not sure if I wrote the series to give me license to write bad puns or
Just add all these puns
I
in your
just,
head.
there, I, anyone who knows me for any length of time knows that I
I'm a,
am the
I
punster.
I love a pun. Like I'm not good at it, but I love when somebody does it and I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I laugh and everybody else is like, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "The pun." They're like, "We don't." I had a coworker I used to work with and we would just send them back and forth to each other just cuz we were
Well,
big
there are times I
word
will
for it.
come up with a title and go, okay, I got to write a story that goes with this
Yeah.
title. I just one just got printed called A Corpse a la carte.
Yeah.
Um, you know, they're having lunch at an outdoor cafe when an elf falls out of the sky and lands on their table, who fell off of a flying carpet. So
Oh my
that's how the
God.
story begins.
I love so that was going to be my next question. So you have this world. So does the story or the title come first? But it really is both. You could
It really is both. There are some
yeah.
times where I will have a great title and it will send me off in a direction, and other times where I'll write the story and I'll go, oh my God, that's what this has to be.
Yeah.
And you know, my writing group, I have a weekly writing group, and there are times I will go, okay, it's another Jack Silence
Yeah.
stories. And there's equal parts groans and cheers because they know it's going to start with a really bad pun
Yeah.
and go from there.
Do you so the books are threaded, but do you find yourself wanting to make a novel of Jack Silence, or is it this is the way
I
you write his
actually,
stories?
I actually started a novel, and it's sitting in a folder
Mhm.
because um, it's actually a prequel to all of these stories. It's
Oh,
when he first discovers his ability, and when because the first stories in the collection are about 2 or 3 years
I
after
gotcha. So he's already
the
been doing
conversion.
it. Right.
He's been doing it a little bit because it's easier to get short stories going there.
Yeah.
And so if hopefully Level Best, likes these, then I will, because the contract says that any full length version with these characters will go to Level Best. So it's waiting because I figured it was so long between signing the contract and when it's
Yeah.
going to come out. I've done other stuff in the meantime, and
Right.
Jack writes himself.
Yeah.
So when I get the okay to go ahead with it, it will take me a couple of months tops,
And
and
I
it'll
like the
exist.
idea of readers and people getting introduced to the character as a fully formed character and then going back and kind of saying, well, he was something different, 3 years ago
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. It's like the first time he meets his office manager Grando, who's a stone gnome.
As they are.
Always wears a little red cap and a
Sure.
little beard. And at one point, he says to him, "Why do you always wear the same clothes?" He says, "What do you mean?
Yeah.
I have 12 of these
Yeah.
and 12 of these.
Yeah.
That's how I dress." But he lives under a rock across the street in a park, and he eats stone.
Yeah.
But it'll be the first time he meets him, and the first time
Yeah.
he has a his title is a ghost maker, because the thing with fey ghosts are they stick around even
Okay.
more than human ghosts. So once he has dispatched them, he has to go and get a an exorcist
Hmm.
who he works with to come in and shoo them along to the
Right.
next level. So yeah, there's a whole mythology that I built up
Yeah.
with it.
That's really cool.
Uh,
You also have, I saw, this is on your website, so I think, Call Down the Lightning from Crossroad Press.
Yes,
That,
Call Down the Lightning is it actually it is in pre-order now and it comes out on Wednesday on
oh
the
my God,
31st it
speaking of coming
publishes.
out, yeah. And what's kind of
It's
the
a
vibe of that one?
it's a thriller.
Okay.
It's about a former Marine who's disabled who lives in an apartment above a haunted house, a commercial haunted house,
Hmm.
um, because the screams through the floor chase away the screams in his head from his comrades.
Oh,
And he ends up saving a young girl from what looks like a mugging, and it turns out it wasn't. And it puts him on a case where he goes after the people who killed her brother, one of his guys from his old unit.
oh wow.
So he has to get the unit together, and they end up going up against a multinational mercenary corporation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a little bit
it's a
different for
thriller, but
you.
yeah, well, I mean, I've
Yeah,
written in every genre at this point. But I went through. I mean, I never served myself, although I trained soldiers. I used to
sure,
train soldiers for bodyguard work.
sure.
Um, but I went through a couple of my friends who are vets and my weapons trainer, and had them read the book and give me critique on it
Oh,
because the book is basically about PTSD.
yeah, I was gonna say
Uh,
that's what it.
it's about him trying to rebuild a life
Right.
after all of that's happened to him,
Wow.
and trying to not be near violence. And because I don't like, with the Jack Silence, it's light,
Yeah,
but in real world, violence has a very hard effect on you. And
yeah,
so I wanted to. I hate when like detective stories, their best friend gets killed, he has a drink and then goes on, and there's
right.
nothing to it.
And
Like
never
that's not
mentions
the way
it
it works
again.
in real life.
Right,
You
right.
know, I carry the ghosts of all my friends who've passed with me,
Sure. 100%.
and more so for those kind of things. So yeah, Call Down the Lightning is my way to do a more realistic adventure story.
Right.
Although it's still an adventure story. I mean, I'm
Sure.
still,
It's still thriller. I mean, it's
yeah,
fiction. It's not a how-to deal with
yeah,
your PTSD book. It's
yeah.
definitely just kind
I
of,
mean, it offers how some people do, and
yeah.
that's the thing is, but like he's going to counseling, and
Yeah.
he's got his friends, and you know, it's all based on people I know. I actually used to work at that haunted house. I was a barker at that haunted house for
In New
real.
York.
Um, in New York on 48th Street and 42nd Street and 8th Avenue.
Okay.
It was on the corner. It was called Times Scare, and
Oh, I wonder
it
why you
was a
like
it was
puns. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't come up with it,
No,
but
but
it was a year-round haunted house. It was there
okay.
for about 4 years,
Wow.
and
Do you know
it
what it
was
is
really
now?
interesting. Oh, now it's a McDonald's and a pharmacy.
Oh,
They tore down the whole building and put up another one in the
yeah.
meantime. That was a decade ago,
But
but
also like
it was interesting. You know,
kind of funny, McDonald's and a pharmacy. That seems like a weird pairing, right? But that's a whole nother discussion.
well, that's Manhattan. Everything
Yeah.
is like we got space. We'll throw it in there. McDonald's makes sense because
Yeah.
there's a McDonald's a block away,
Oh yeah.
and in Manhattan. You have McDonald's in four different corners
Yeah.
because it depends which direction the tourist is going to walk.
Right. And
You
I
know,
will say as a New Englander near Boston, I mean, that's us with Dunkin' Donuts. So like if you don't go to the Dunkin'
yeah,
Donuts on 139, just go down the street and there's one on Route 18. So like you're like,
yep.
I have a favorite Dunkin' Donuts, even though there's three of them in within walking distance.
Yes. Well, they
And
did a study once that like gymnasiums, you can have a health club every 4 blocks because people will only walk 3 blocks to go to the health
interesting.
club.
I believe that as a non-worker outer.
You know?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
Also, as someone who
and
would
it's
walk to
true.
McDonald's, I would only go 3 blocks to a McDonald's. Yes, that's also true. But mainly because I just get a nice Diet Coke from there. Nice fountain Diet Coke. Um, I love the idea. I love the idea of the thriller novel being different from what you're going to release in October, but also that you took the time to talk to actual veterans and people who've gone through some of this stuff. And like you said, it's a personal. It has obviously you can't talk to somebody who's ridden a magic carpet, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's nice to be able to ground it a little bit in that
Yes,
reality.
well, that even with the lighter stuff,
Right.
like I try to make, like, in that case, there's a rule that Ian Fleming used to say, with his James Bond. The reason he does, if you read James Bond books, the physical locations and the food are all described in minute detail
Yeah.
to ground it, so that the absurd stuff that's around it gets justified.
Right.
And so, with same thing with this, I set all of the Jack Silence stories in places I've been, real places that ground it,
Yeah.
and I give as much reality to it as possible so that I could be absurd.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing with with Call Down the Lightning, I wanted. I'm one of those people who screams at the History Channel if they get something wrong,
Sure. Sure.
and so anything I write, I try to make pretty careful that I get it right,
Yeah.
and always go to the experts.
Yeah.
If it's something that I don't know how to do or haven't done,
Mhm.
I go and talk to somebody who has, and we'll have them critique it and say, no, no, they wouldn't use this kind of gun in this
Right.
circumstance, or the way flashbacks occur to you in
Right.
PT is not the way you've described it, and so
Interesting.
then I reworded it to make it much more the way it would be, because I want to speak to them too. They're
Yeah.
not unheard. They're not seen.
No, and I think
Um,
that's important because it, especially not to get too political, but like the past couple years, it's been kind of an epidemic of PTSD, not just from military service, but just life. And I think by showing it in
life.
a
Yes.
realistic manner helps people, like you said, be seen. And I think that's my favorite part of writing is for a person to see themselves in a book and not feel judged, which is, and I think
Yes.
that by you going to these people to get that advice, that's you
Well,
say to the reader, I'm not going to judge you.
yeah, well, I've had very good friends. I had an ex girlfriend who had PTS. She worked in an ER. She
Oh
got it from
gosh,
working in the ER,
I can imagine.
and
I can't imagine.
so I've had I've had people very close to me, and I wanted to honor that. I wanted to say this is, because again, even when you see adventure stories, for the most part, it's like rugged guys and it don't bother me none, and it's like it's not like that.
No.
It's not like that at all.
And I think it's
Um,
important to show people that you don't have to be that
yeah,
that Western ideal, the John Wayne ideal of, yeah,
yeah.
plenty
I mean,
rough and I don't have to show you any pain, fear, whatever.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that, like you say, about you, people want to be seen, they want to be included.
Hmm.
I try to. Uh, I mean, I come from quote white privilege and all of that, but I
Yeah.
try in my books to always address a whole range of humanity,
Right.
and see them only as people.
Yeah.
If I have a World War II series, or set just before World War II, that often the Germans are bad guys or the Japanese are bad guys, but I always make a point of showing non-Nazi Germans
Yeah.
and non-imperialist Japanese, and I always try to say these are people in a
And
circumstance.
even in
You
your
know,
lighter quote unquote or absurdist characters, I mean,
yeah,
there's still
absolutely.
there's still humanity. Well, not humanity, because that would not be the right
Well,
word, but
well,
there's still soul.
humaneness.
Right.
Yeah, there's a sentient humaneness in them.
Exactly. Exactly. Which I think is great. Because
Uh,
again, you're addressing serious topics and serious things, but with a little lighter touch so people don't feel like I'm getting judged if I think something different.
yeah. Also, like when I was teaching, I always found that people remember more when they're laughing.
True.
So
True.
even if I was teaching self-defense and say, well, this is this horrible technique that does this and blah, 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 I would try to couch it in terms that would make people, because people, when they're not tense, when
Yeah.
they're laughing, when they're smiling, they engage more memory
Yeah.
cells and they retain it better.
Yeah.
And I really don't need any anything more in this world to terrify people. We got more
No,
than enough if you
it's
turn
too
on the
much going
news or
on. I know.
go on YouTube.
I can't even.
Uh,
But we are starting to run out of time. We got about 10 minutes, and I want to make sure I know I could talk for, trust me, I'm a yapper. I could talk all day. Um,
Same here.
it's a problem, but not a problem because that's why I started a podcast. Do you have books that you recommend or that you've just read that you want to tell people about, or books from just your many travels that you're like, everybody should read these books?
Yes, there's a collection, a feminist collection, and boys, feminist doesn't mean anti-male, called Discontinue If Death Ensues. And it is the five women who are in the book were all the finalists for the Stoker Award one year
Oh,
for the
yeah.
best horror short stories. And they got together and formed a group, basically the Sisters of Foreboding, and they decided that we all have very similar views of things. We should put a book together. And they put a book together from I think, England, New Zealand, Australia, and the United States.
Wow.
And two of the women edited together, Carol Geisander and Anna Taborska, who were also in the book,
Yeah.
but they edited each other's work. And it's short stories, novellas, and poems by each of them, addressing what has happened to the world. And uh, I think Carol describes it as stabby feminist horror.
I love that.
But they're not all horror. They're a lot of
No.
them are sort of dark fantasy, and
Okay.
but horror is the general term. It's a very big umbrella.
Yeah.
But that particularly is a phenomenal book.
I just start that because that's extremely my vibe right now. So I'm like,
Oh,
hello.
it's got a cool pink cover, and they're hardcover, and they've got a little one of those bookmarks that's built in, which I think is the coolest thing ever. From Flame Tree Press. And see, I would say the other is why can't I think of the title? It's a book by Lee Murray, and it's a book of poetry. And oh my God, I'm completely blanking on the name. But anyway, pretty much anything by Lee Murray. But it's a book of her poetry that came out 2 years ago, and it's phenomenal. I can't even remember where I put it on my shelf. Oh, she'll hate me.
I know. Look at me. I'm on her website as we're talking. Yes.
Oh, there you go. Well, the thing is that my to be read pile.
Yeah.
I always feel guilty about it, but now I feel really guilty because most of it are my friends.
That's exactly. I tell that
really
to people
lucky to meet
all the time.
Yeah.
Every conference I go to, I always end up buying books. And yeah, a lot of it I do on Kindle, but like look at behind me right now. Like, I mean, and you can see over there's a bookcase, over there's a bookcase. But it's because I know how I like the support, and they're on there.
Yes, yes. And also I like to physically hold books whenever I can.
I do.
And,
that's my bedtime routine. I read my real books in the bathtub, and then I go into my bed and I read my Kindle. I have the two. There's definitely like my living room has hardback books, and then my bedroom has the Kindle because then I don't need the light on, which is nice because I hate light. I feel like I'm sounding like a vampire right now, and I'm not. I generally enjoy daytime. Everybody.
I am a vampire. I'm a late night person. I live in the basement. So
I mean, even
look at me. You can't get paler than this skin.
What's up, Irish? Like, hello, Gaelic community. Yes, Celtic life.
My people were born to run around in the mist.
We just had I just went out with my friends for brunch, and yeah, we were just all standing outside, and I'm like, this is too bright. We have to go in. And they're like, yeah, we're all Irish. We're all pale. We're all New Englanders. And plus,
I'll tell you a wonderfully embarrassing story. I was at a Ren fair and I was wearing my kilt, and a woman came up to me and said, I could take your picture. I said, sure. She said, I've seen a lot of guys wear the kilt, but you really have the legs for it. And I was all pumped up. And then she added, they're so white.
Oh, no. And you're like, fair point, but ouch. Yeah, like, okay. So where can people find you? Where can
Um,
people find you other than your bad
there's
website that's getting
Yeah,
revamped?
my that website, which is going to be good, it's the urbanswashbuckler.com. I'm on Amazon. My new series that's been getting a lot of good word is Paradise Investigations. It's Frankenstein Monster as a PI in 1939 New York. Um,
That looked really
those
fun.
first three books are out. But I'm all over the place. Teel James Glenn. There's no I I went to the full name when I started writing professionally because I've never encountered another Teel as a first name.
I was gonna
I
say,
have seen it as a last name, and
yeah.
in Scotland it's often spelled with an IEL as a last name.
Okay.
So, but John Wesley Hardin's lawyer was named John Teel,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
with a double E. I know weird stuff, but when you got a weird name, you notice all the weird. By the way, your last name, my daughter's name is Aislinn.
Oh, for like the lion.
Yeah, Slin.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's funny you talk about weird names. My favorite thing about being a writer and using my real last name is when you go to the library and they shelve your books on the shelf, it's always the genre and your last three digits or last three letters or
yeah,
first three letters. So mine is Miss
yeah.
S. And that's not swearing, YouTube, because that is my name. And my friend is so funny. She's like, "You're Miss Ass." And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I am. And
You
guess
know
what?
what?
You'll never forget that,
Yes,
you know?
yes, exactly.
And I will take
It's,
it.
do you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it Ashlyn or
It's
Aislinn?
it's Aslan, like with a Z.
Aslan. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because
So
the same spelling in Irish Gaelic for her name would be Ashlyn,
yeah,
and in Scots Gaelic it's Aislinn,
yeah.
but it's the same spelling because the Irish just throw random letters
Yeah,
in for
they
the hell
love
of it.
throwing letters and apostrophes and all those accent marks.
Yeah, yeah.
But this
On
was
the other hand,
also
they nail all their vowels down to the
yes.
Welsh because they
And I
use it.
still don't know how to pronounce them. But this was so much fun. I had such a good time, and it's not just the mimosa. And before we get caught up, I just want to say thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk,
Thank you very much. I'm
maybe we'll
looking.
talk again in October,
When is your book? What is your book coming out? When
September,
is your book coming
hopefully.
out? What's your
September, hopefully.
What's the title?
Foul play at the
What's
park.
the title?
Foul play.
Good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
hopefully.
Well,
We'll
you
see.
should get that in there too in every show.
Oh, don't worry. I'll do another recording after this, and you'll hear all
Okay.
my spiel and my Red Sox talk. So thank you again,
Uh,
and have a good rest
Thank
of your
you, Mike.
day.
You too. Be well.
How fun, right? We could have yapped all day. Part of the reason I'm feeling yappy today, it is towards the end of my day, and I did have a mimosa at brunch with the ladies today, a cranberry mimosa, and it was delicious. But I am feeling tired and also feeling a little loopy. So I apologize in advance if I was a little scattered, but I think he followed my trains of thought well. And again, as a yapper, big fan, and I hope to see him in real life soon because he seems like such a fun guy and his stories are fascinating. I can't wait to read Guns, Goons, and Goblins, and then Dragons, Dames, and Demons. I love that. I love those titles, so that'll be really fun. I am reading right now the Crescent City trilogy. I've finished the second book and I'm in the midst of the third book. I actually got them through Libby because I had the book in hand for the second one and it's just so big. I love reading fantasy novels on my Kindle because if it's over like 400 pages, that's sometimes just too hard to hold. So I'm reading that one. What is it? The House of Flame and Shadow, I think. And yeah, it is what it is. You guys don't know this about me. I'm not a big fan of spice in my books, so I just tend to skip over some of those parts. And teach their own. I still get the story. I just don't have to see the doing it, and that's kind of my vibe. So everything else about the story, I'm highly invested in, and I don't know. I do not enjoy the fact that I think there's another book after this one, so I'm gonna have to wait for a while. And I've had that problem with the Iron Flame series too. It's like, oh God, I just or what do they call it? Is it the Fourth Wing series? It's the waiting, and I understand as a writer. I understand. I'm not judging them for taking so long. It takes a long time to write books. I can't imagine writing fantasy, but man, I just hate being all caught up and then I forget. I started reading James Islington's The Strength of the Few, which is the sequel to The Will of the Many. And I actually had to go to a website to get a recap of book one because I did not remember. I started reading the first chapter and I was like, wait, what happened? So I'm reading that one now. It's still a little hard to follow because I'm misremembering things, but it's okay. That's a big, thick book, but I got it on sale at Barnes and Noble. So once I read it, it'll go in the donation bin, or I'll take it to a little free library. Or the Animal Protection Center of Southeastern Massachusetts is doing their annual book sale next week. So if I can, I donated a ton of books and a lot of new books last week. So if you are in the Brockton area, definitely go down and pick up some books and save some animals and maybe adopt some. I'm looking at my captain, who is from the Animal Protection Center of Southeastern Massachusetts, and Cooper, who's running around here somewhere. I think it's nap time. He is from South Carolina, but still rescue. All of them are rescues. Madeline's sleeping in her little bed. Captain and the coop were wrestling this morning, and Madeline got her 10-year-old ass up and said, guys, like, relax, chill out. I don't want to have to break up any beef. And kind of fun. So that's what my life is like right now, with work interspersed. Next week is kind of fun because as a Sisters in Crime president and member, we are doing a crime scene class at Curry College, which, again, for those that know, is where I went to school. Professor Jabor did a crime scene reconstruction at our last crime bake. And so he apparently has like a trailer on campus that he does the education from. So we're going to do that and then go to lunch right after at the cafeteria. So it'll be like old times going to Curry College. There's still a couple spaces left if you're interested in joining us. Also, April 15th, I know I've posted this on my Facebook and on my website, but if you are in the Newton area, I am going to be part of the Noir at the Bar, benefiting the Alzheimer's Association for member and friend Marcy McCreary and her husband. So many amazing authors are going to be reading, and then me, which I have to figure out what I'm going to read. There's also going to be an auction, which I'll be blasting all over my social media and my website starting this week. And I've donated some stuff, and I'm going to have some Sisters in Crime donated stuff. And it's just for a great cause. It's free to attend, but obviously donations are welcome. Um, and books will be sold and signings will be happening. And guys, I'm going to stay out on a school night for this because it's important to support friends and family who are doing good works. And Marcy is one of those people who are doing good works. Also, she is an author herself. So definitely, and her husband, Lou, is also an author. So support them by buying their book. She'll be at Barnes and Noble next week, I believe, as well, signing. So definitely do that. At the end of the month, I'm at Malice. Not on any panels. I didn't get picked for speed dating, so that's fine. So I'll just be wandering around, being my very yappy self. So come and see me, and definitely say hi and pick up a baseball card and pick up, some good tidbits on books. Meet my dad because he'll probably be there one day. What else? Speaking of my dad, happy birthday, Rob. He turned an age, I guess I shouldn't say his age, yesterday, and he went out to dinner with my brother and his wife and my brother's girlfriend. Let me rephrase: Brandon, my brother's girlfriend, and my dad's wife. So there's no weird, this isn't Maury Povich, guys. Ricky Lake, for those of a certain age. So happy birthday, Dad. This week, Brandon and Shannon are going out of town. So Grandpa is babysitting Gigi, his granddaughter, grand puppy. So we'll see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on that. He's coming up here next week, so I'll get the full details on that story. But that's about all that's going on. Like I said, between the last week's interview and this week's, I haven't done a lot because work sucks, and I'm in the process of reverse outlining book 4. I'm halfway through, so I figured this was a good point to kind of stop, take note of where I'm at, and then continue on the story after. So, and actually, not to beep my own horn, but I kind of laughed out loud at a few points at these. I definitely leaned into my humor a little bit, so hopefully you guys find it funny too. If not, lie and tell me you did find it funny, because I laughed out loud. And on that note, this time I'm going to sign off for real. So on that note, happy reading, and obviously now, go Red Sox.